Hi everybody, this is my review for WWE All Stars for the PlayStation Portable. There it is. Okay, couple things first. It's an arcade style game, which is something a lot of people have been waiting for. Well, at least wrestling fans anyway. You know, the SmackDown vs. Raw series revolutionized wrestling games. There's not really TNA tried to do a game like a couple years back. Let's not talk about that. It was a friggin' disaster. Um, so WWE All Stars, arcade style beat 'em up. First of all, if you want to look at it like compare it to Legends of WrestleMania for the Xbox 360, it looks like it. It's very similar into the fact that it has a lot of old school throwback guys. Classic superstars, classic matches. The arenas, the matches, recreate, relive, and all that. But one big major difference there is that WWE All Stars is not a button masher. It's not one of those games you're gonna pick up and bang, bang, bang. You want a match. There is some skill involved. It's not a whole lot. It's fairly simple button scheme, but it can be a little clumsy at times trying to perform finishers because I believe it's like a button combination of like one of the shoulder buttons and then like a triangle or something like that. I'm not sure. I don't remember. But um important thing is that going back to match types. Okay. Um it's a fun game. It really is. The character models are just ridiculous, over the top. The moves, you do a signature move and your guy like jumps in the air and does like a spin and all that, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to play. A couple of issues with I have with it though is the fact that outside of your standard match, there's not a whole lot to do. You have your triple threat, fatal four way, handicap, tornado. And there's about 5 or 6 match types, and that's about it. There is a story mode. I mean, unofficially, I guess you could call it the story mode, but it's something else. Um, what they have is Path of Champions, which is actually pretty cool. You face Randy Orton or The Undertaker, depending on, it's 2 different modes you can play. You can decide to face him, Randy Orton, or you can face The Undertaker for, I believe it's at SummerSlam. And, it's neat. You have your little matches. You have like 10, 9 matches, and then the 10th match you fight the champion. And it's neat because they have like little vignettes, little video of Undertaker and Randy Orton when they talk smack and everything, and it's cool. The thing is that once that's over with, it's not like the usual like SmackDown versus Raw. It's not a real lengthy story mode. So once you beat it, with whoever you want, your guy that you pick, there are 15 to start off with, and then you have to unlock the other 15. So there's 30 total. You do get alternate ring gear for playing story mode. The issue I have with that is that each superstar has at least one other alternative outfit, and yeah, when you finish it, you unlock all their outfits, but that's 30 guys that you got to finish story mode with in order to get everyone's outfit, which is incentive to play it, but since there's not a whole lot to story mode, there's only about, like I said, about 4 to 6 match types anyway. Especially if you're playing for the championship, you're only going to be playing handicap matches, which is brutal because it's pretty much like football, kill the man with the ball. So the 2 computer players just pretty much jump on you, and you've got to avoid at least one of them long enough to get the pinfall. Whatever. There's a cage match, which I found ridiculously difficult at first because I didn't really know the controls that well, but after a few losses, I managed to climb out of the cage and, whatever. Um, yeah, once you finish story mode, there's not a whole lot to do, but I will say that the meat and potatoes of the game is what they call fantasy warfare. Fantasy warfare is where they take superstars of yesterday and put them in a match with superstars of today. For instance, they have Stone Cold Steve Austin versus CM Punk in Fantasy Warfare, Edge versus Bret Hart. And while those matches sound cool enough, that's not really the selling point of the match. What's the selling point of actually playing this mode is that, there's quite a few matches that you do, for one thing, which, is a great incentive just to see what all the matches are. But more importantly, for the first time ever, they've actually put together a video package to introduce the match that you're going to have. So, like, say you've got Bret Hart versus Edge. They'll show a little video package, full motion video, mind you. This is not CGI. Of, matching them up. They have an announcer, like, talking about it and everything, and it's really cool. So, once you do all that, there's not really a whole lot to the game. The game doesn't have a real long shelf life. It's fun to play in short spurts, but the thrills won't last forever. So, while I do think it's a really fun game, especially for old school wrestling fans, and it is, I had fun with it. I haven't played it that much since I got it, but that was a while ago. But I will say that it is worth mentioning. Of all the wrestling games, I will say it's worth mentioning. However, I was really disappointed with the fact that there was no DLC for it, as opposed to the fact that there were DLC for, the 360 and the PS3 versions, which I found appalling considering that, the game cost $30. It's not like, greatest hits discount rack. It's like, $20 cheaper than the new version. Depending on where you got it, I guess, whatever. But I was really disappointed with the fact that there was no DLC, for the simple fact that there was some guys that I would have liked to have played, like the 360 got Boss Man, Ted DiBiase, and Ted DiBiase Jr., and some other guys. I believe they got Gold Dust, So I wasn't, thrilled at a lot of the DLC, but I was disappointed that, they had a couple of guys that I really wouldn't mind having, and I couldn't get them because the PlayStation Portable didn't offer it. So, if you're looking for DLC, like if you want to add new characters, it's probably not the best way to go. You might want to go get the 360 version or the PlayStation 3. But I will say for longtime wrestling fans, yeah, it's worth taking a look at. But I recommend, if you're not sure about it, maybe you want to rent it first. Maybe you don't want to own it, because it's a game, unless you're like a diehard wrestling fan, you're not going to play it that much. So, it might not be worth a second look to you, but it is a fun game, but the thrills won't last forever. So, thanks a lot, and see you guys around.